Have you ever noticed something strange about the world we live in today? For the first time in human history, almost all knowledge is available instantly. You want to start a business? There are thousands of courses. You want to learn marketing? Endless tutorials. You want to understand investing, psychology, coding, writing, negotiation, leadership? The information is everywhere, and yet something strange happens. Despite living in the most informed era in history, millions of people still feel stuck. Ideas stay ideas, plans stay plans, dreams stay unfinished drafts in the mind. People research for months but never begin. They analyze every option, but never choose one. They prepare endlessly, but never move. Which raises an uncomfortable question. If knowledge is everywhere, why is action so rare? The answer is not lack of discipline, and it is not lack of intelligence. The real problem is something far more subtle. Overthinking. Modern humans are drowning in decisions. Some popular internet quotes say, "We make 35,000 decisions per day," but more realistic research suggests something closer to 400 to 1,000 conscious decisions daily. Still, even that number is enormous. Every decision requires energy. You compare options. You predict outcomes. You imagine risks. You analyze possible mistakes. Now add fear to that process. Add expectations. Add the pressure to get things right. Add the illusion that you must be certain before acting. The result? Paralysis by analysis. You become so busy thinking about how to act that you never act. You spend months researching how to start a business, years planning a career change, weeks preparing a personal project that never actually begins. Eventually, something worse happens. You stop asking how to do it. You start asking something much heavier. Why can't I just start? But centuries before modern productivity experts tried to solve this problem, the Japanese had already discovered it, and they developed a concept designed specifically to break the prison of overthinking. They called it Kunokai, the world of emptiness. Now, before this sounds mystical or abstract, understand something important. Kunokai does not mean having an empty mind. It means something far more practical. It means acting without the interference of excessive thinking. It means allowing action to move before fear and analysis suffocate it. One of the greatest practitioners of this philosophy was the legendary samurai Miyamoto Musashi. Musashi lived in a world where hesitation meant death. Sword duels were not theoretical debates. If you paused to analyze too long, you lost. In his final book, The Book of Five Rings, Musashi wrote a line that confused many readers for centuries. "In the void there is virtue and no evil. Wisdom exists, principle exists, the way exists, and the mind is empty." This was not spiritual poetry, it was survival strategy. Because in combat, if you stop to calculate every possibility, you die. There is no time to analyze the opponent's angle, no time to simulate 10 outcomes, no time to wait until you feel ready. You simply act. Your training moves, your body reacts, your mind gets out of the way. Now think about your life. Opportunities are not sword fights, but they behave in a strangely similar way. Every opportunity gives you two choices. You can act, or you can think until the moment disappears. Most people choose the second path, not because they want to, but because they were trained to. School trained you to analyze everything. The market trained you to compare endless options. Society trained you to fear mistakes. So now your mind tries to eliminate risk before action. But here is the brutal truth. You cannot eliminate risk. You cannot fully predict the future. And the more you try, the more you delay the only thing that actually moves life forward. Action. To understand how powerful this mental trap can be, consider the story of someone named Emily Carter. Emily was 28 years old and worked as a business analyst at a mid-sized company. On paper, her career looked stable. She had a good salary, a respected position, a degree in business administration. But everyone who worked with Emily noticed something unusual. Whenever a project stalled, Emily fixed it. When a client became frustrated, Emily calmed them down. When the team couldn't see a strategic solution, Emily suddenly saw it clearly. She had something that universities rarely teach: business intuition. The ability to see patterns quickly, to simplify complex problems, to guide decisions confidently. Everyone around her noticed it, except Emily, because every time opportunity appeared, Emily entered analysis mode. One colleague once suggested she start a consulting business. Emily spent 3 months researching business models, pricing strategies, market competitors, legal risks, tax implications. By the time she finished her analysis, 2 things had changed. The opportunity was gone, and her fear had grown. Later, a friend invited her to become a partner in a startup. Emily didn't reject the idea. She studied it. 2 months of planning, 2 months of spreadsheets, 2 months imagining scenarios. While she was still thinking, her friend found another partner, and the company launched without her. Emily wasn't lazy, she wasn't unmotivated, she was trapped in something much more dangerous. The illusion that thinking long enough would remove uncertainty. But uncertainty cannot be removed. It can only be faced. Every time Emily tried to eliminate fear through thinking, she created more fear. More questions, more scenarios, more reasons to wait. Until eventually the same haunting sentence appeared again and again in her mind. What if I fail? But what Emily didn't know yet was that someone was about to enter her life and introduce her to a completely different way of moving through the world. A way where action comes before certainty. A way where thinking supports movement instead of replacing it. A way inspired by the ancient samurai concept of ku no kai. And that meeting would change everything. Emily met Ko on a quiet Thursday afternoon at a business expo in Chicago. The event itself was nothing special. Booths, presentations, networking conversations that mostly sounded the same. Emily was there representing the company she worked for. Her role was simple: present their services, explain the strategy behind their recent projects, and talk to potential partners. But something about the way she spoke caught someone's attention. Ko Tanaka. Ko was 56 years old, originally from Kyoto, Japan. She had moved to the United States more than 20 years earlier and had built a small but highly respected interior design company. It wasn't a giant corporation, but it was solid, profitable, stable, and most importantly, it had a reputation for precision and taste. Ko had been walking past Emily's booth when she heard her speaking to a potential client. Emily wasn't reading from notes. She was explaining a complicated business problem in a way that felt almost effortless. She listened carefully. Then she noticed something interesting. Emily wasn't just answering questions. She was seeing problems before the client even finished describing them. Ko stopped walking and stood there quietly listening. After the conversation ended and the client left, Ko approached her. "You're very good at what you do," Ko said with a calm voice and a soft Japanese accent. Emily smiled politely. "Thank you. I try." Ko studied her for a moment. "No," she said. "You do more than try." Emily looked slightly confused. Ko continued. "You solve problems before people even understand them. That is rare." Emily felt a little embarrassed. Compliments made her uncomfortable. "Experience helps," she said. Ko shook her head slightly. "No, experience helps, but this is something else." Then Ko asked a question that surprised Emily. "Have you ever considered running your own company?" Emily laughed nervously. "I've thought about it," she said carefully. "But?" Emily hesitated. Well, I'd have to research it properly first. There are a lot of variables. Ko smiled, not with excitement, with recognition. I see, she said. Then she made an unexpected proposal. I am expanding my business, Ko explained. I need someone who understands strategy and people. Someone who can see problems clearly. She paused. Someone like you. Emily felt her heart start racing. Would you be interested in learning more about my company? Ko asked. We might become partners. For a moment, Emily forgot how to breathe. This was exactly the kind of opportunity she had always imagined. Working alongside someone experienced, building something meaningful, actually leading instead of analyzing. But the familiar mechanism inside her mind immediately activated. Risk analysis, future predictions, worst-case scenarios. Emily forced a polite smile. Can I think about it? Ko's expression didn't change. Of course, she said. Let me know when you decide. Emily left the expo that day with her mind spinning. For the next 3 weeks, her brain became a war zone. Every night she opened spreadsheets, market projections, partnership structures, financial scenarios, interior design industry trends. What if the company stopped growing? What if she didn't understand the design side of the business well enough? What if the partnership didn't work? What if she left her stable job and everything collapsed? Each answer created 10 more questions, and each question created more hesitation. Emily believed she was being responsible, careful, strategic. But something else was happening. Her mind was trying to eliminate uncertainty, and the more she tried, the more uncertainty multiplied. After 3 weeks, Ko called. Emily, she said calmly, have you made your decision? Emily swallowed. I'm still analyzing some details, she said. I want to make sure I'm ready. There was a short pause on the line. Then Ko said something simple. Let's meet for coffee tomorrow. The next afternoon, they sat at a quiet cafe. Ko ordered green tea. Emily ordered strong coffee. Ko looked at her calmly. Emily, she said gently, why haven't you accepted yet? Emily stared at the table. I'm afraid I'm not ready, she admitted. I don't know enough about the industry. What if I fail? Ko nodded slowly. And when will you be ready? Emily didn't answer. Ko leaned back in her chair. You won't be, she said softly. Emily looked up. What do you mean? You are not waiting to be ready, Ko said. You are waiting to be certain. Then she added something that changed the direction of the conversation. In Japan, Ko continued, there is a concept my grandfather taught me when I was young. He practiced kendo, the art of the sword, and he always spoke about ku no kai. Emily frowned slightly. The world of emptiness? Yes, Ko said, but not the kind of emptiness people imagine. She took a sip of her tea. Ku no kai is not about removing thought. It is about removing interference. In sword fighting, if you stop to analyze every movement, you lose. There is no time to calculate 10 possibilities. You act. Your training moves. Your instinct moves. Your mind simply gets out of the way. Emily listened silently. Ko continued. You think thinking will protect you from fear, she said. But thinking does not eliminate fear. Action does. Emily felt something shift inside her. I was like you once, Ko added quietly. When I moved to America, I spent 2 years thinking about starting my company. 2 years. Planning, researching, doubting. And then one day my grandfather told me something I never forgot. Ko leaned forward slightly. He said, the path appears only after the first step. Emily felt tears gathering in her eyes, because deep down, she already knew it was true. Ko looked at her carefully. "You don't need certainty," she said. "You need courage." Emily took a long breath, then finally said the words she had been afraid to say for weeks. "I accept." Ko smiled. "Good," she said. "We start Monday." Emily left the cafe that day feeling something she had not felt in years. Not certainty, but clarity. And soon she would discover that Kuno-kai was not just an idea from ancient samurai philosophy. It was a way of moving through life itself. Emily barely slept that night, but for the first time in weeks, it wasn't anxiety keeping her awake. It was energy. Something had shifted inside her. Not because all her doubts disappeared, they hadn't, but because she had finally moved despite them. And that changed everything. Over the weekend, Emily began reading about the concept Ko had mentioned, Kuno-kai, the world of emptiness. At first, the idea sounded abstract, but the more she read, the clearer it became. Kuno-kai wasn't about shutting down your brain, it wasn't about ignoring risks, and it certainly wasn't about acting recklessly. It was about removing the interference of excessive thinking. It was about allowing action to happen before analysis turned every opportunity into a threat. She read about Miyamoto Musashi again, the legendary samurai who fought over 60 duels and never lost. Musashi wrote in the Book of Five Rings about a state called Mushin, the mind without mind. But that phrase often gets misunderstood. Mushin doesn't mean you have no thoughts. It means thoughts don't slow you down. Your training moves, your instincts move. Your mind doesn't freeze the body by trying to calculate everything. And Emily began recognizing something uncomfortable every time she had struggled in life. It wasn't because she lacked information. It was because she had too much mental interference. She kept trying to eliminate uncertainty before acting, but uncertainty is not something you remove. It is something you move through. Monday arrived. Emily walked into Ko's office feeling nervous but determined. Within the first few days, she noticed something fascinating. Ko was incredibly decisive, but not reckless. When a new client requested a proposal, Ko didn't spend 3 weeks analyzing every detail. She sketched an idea, presented it, adjusted based on feedback, delivered the next version quickly. Perfection doesn't come before action, Ko told her one afternoon. It comes through action. Emily had always believed the opposite. She thought everything needed to be perfectly planned before showing it to anyone. But watching Ko work shattered that belief. Clients loved the speed, they appreciated the transparency, and the collaborative process made the final results even stronger. Slowly, Emily began changing the way she worked. Instead of waiting for the perfect plan, she started acting with the best plan available right now. Instead of fearing mistakes, she treated mistakes as information. Instead of trying to control every variable, she focused on the ones that mattered. Something unexpected happened. The company began growing faster, projects moved quickly, clients recommended them to others. And Emily noticed something even more important. She felt lighter, not because life became easy, but because she stopped carrying the impossible burden of trying to control the future. 6 months later, the partnership between Emily and Ko was thriving. They had expanded their client base, the business was stable and growing, but the biggest transformation wasn't financial. It was internal. Emily had discovered something rare, peace with uncertainty. And interestingly enough, modern science now confirms exactly what the samurai understood centuries ago. Researchers studying peak performance in athletes, artists, surgeons, and entrepreneurs discovered something fascinating. During moments of maximum performance, a part of the brain called the prefrontal cortex becomes less active. This region normally handles planning, analysis, and conscious control. But when performance reaches its peak, those processes quiet down. Instead, automatic systems take over. muscle memory, intuition, experience. This is what psychologists call flow state. In flow, you are fully focused, but not overthinking. Action happens naturally, movements are fast, decisions are immediate, performance improves dramatically. Studies show that elite athletes actually perform worse when they try to consciously control every movement. Why? Because conscious thought is slow. The human brain processes roughly 11 million bits of information per second, but only about 40 bits reach conscious awareness. The rest happens automatically. So when you try to consciously analyze everything, you overload the system. It's like trying to drive a car while thinking about every tiny movement. Now turn the wheel 15 degrees. Now press the pedal with exactly 20% pressure. Now adjust your position. You would crash immediately. Because driving works best when your brain stops interfering with the skills it already learned. Life works the same way. The samurai didn't call it neuroscience. They called it ku no kai, a state where action flows without the weight of constant analysis. But how do you actually live this way? The secret is surprisingly simple. You don't try to create flow. You remove the things that block it. First, stop searching for certainty. Seek clarity instead. Certainty is about controlling the future. Clarity is about understanding your next step, and the next step is always enough. Second, train until action becomes instinct. Reading about something is not the same as doing it. Emily didn't become good at business by studying business theories. She became good by running a business every day. Experience builds instincts. Instincts create speed. Third, act small but fast. You don't need the perfect plan. You only need the next move, and you need to take it today. Fourth, accept mistakes as part of the process. Water never argues with obstacles, it flows around them. Mistakes are not proof that you failed. They are information about your next adjustment. And finally, trust the process more than the result. You cannot control whether every project succeeds, but you can control whether you move forward consistently, and that changes everything. Because the greatest paradox of ku no kai is this: you don't reach it by learning something new. You reach it by remembering something you already knew. Think about childhood. When you played as a child, you didn't analyze how to play. You simply played. When you were deeply immersed in something you loved, you weren't thinking about performance. You were just doing it. That natural state still exists inside you. But over the years, fear, expectations, and overthinking built walls around it. Emily didn't eliminate fear. She simply stopped letting fear decide when her life would begin. And today, she and Co run a growing company. But more importantly, Emily has something she never had before. Freedom. Not the freedom of perfect certainty, but the freedom to move without needing it. Because once you stop waiting for perfect answers, you realize something surprising. Life was never asking you to figure everything out. It was simply asking you to begin.